By Education Administration Subcommittee, Representative Yarkowski and Representative Rizzo and others, CS for House Bill 1607, a bill to be entitled an act relating to cardiac emergencies.
Representative Rizzo, you are recognized. Representative Yarkowski, you are recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Folks, we're here to talk about sudden cardiac arrest today, and it's a great honor to present this bill to you, HB 1607. I want to read a couple facts. I've done this in committee. Number one is that sudden cardiac arrest is the #1 killer on school campuses. It equates to about 4 of our Florida youth dying every day from sudden cardiac arrest, or around 1,400 students in Florida. The current survival rate is 9%. Would you believe that it could be as high as 90% if we had an AED within a 3-minute deployment of any place in the schools? 90% of people are saved if deployed within 3 minutes of the event happening. It's also the leading cause of death of student athletes. And the biggest ticking time bomb that we have is that 1 in every 300 of our youth in Florida, which is about 15 to 16,000 kids if you do the math, has an underlying heart condition that they don't know yet that will perhaps lead to one of these events. This bill here today, folks, does 4 things. Number one, we are going to put AEDs in every school and every charter school in Florida. We are going to require CPR and AED training in the schools. We've created a plan called a PULSE plan, which stands for a plan for urgent life-saving emergencies that will be deployed and taught in the schools. And number 4 is that the State Board of Education will adopt and administer the rules to this section. And Mr. Speaker, if I may, in closing on presenting this bill, I want to let the body here know today that we wouldn't be here without the work of Rep. Rizzo 3 years ago, starting this 4 years ago. And I got to say thank you to Rep. Trabulsi, who's really worked with me for 2 years now. And this is the product of, I say it all the time, are we here to be right or get it right? This is getting it right. And we've worked together and we've worked close with the Senate. And I have to thank my friend Bethany Keim and Heart Charge and Hannah and Stephanie. This is why we're here today. And Mr. Speaker, that is the bill.
Questions of the sponsor? Are there amendments?
On the desk, Mr. Speaker.
Read the first amendment.
Representative Rizzo offered the following amendment with title amendment barcode 190769. Remove line 83 and insert an amendment.
Representative Rizzo, you're recognized to present the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment, members, simply makes it possible for the Department of Education, once administering the rules, to implement a 10-day rule to train all school site personnel on the use of AEDs during their usual start of school emergency procedures, and that is the amendment.
Questions? Leader Saroy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Representative Rizzo, could you describe what this training will involve?
Representative Rizzo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Leader, this training basically would take AEDs. Every single school site personnel, every adult that works at a school would have to be trained within the first 10 days of a school year on the administration and the proper usage of an AED. And just so you know, AEDs now are basically dummy proof. You put them on, if they register any sort of cardiac activity that would hurt the person, if it discharged, it does not discharge. And so basically it is to ensure that we can get people to use these AEDs in a timely manner and an effective manner.
Further questions? Are there amendments to the amendment?
None on the desk, Mr. Speaker.
Is there a substitute amendment?
None on the desk, Mr. Speaker.
Is there debate on the amendment? Leader Saroy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Representative Rizzo, I want to thank you for this amendment. I had some concerns about this piece of legislation. I think that this amendment serves to resolve those concerns, and it sounds like training on these devices is common sense and a good fix. I thank you for bringing this amendment forward.
Further debate on the amendment? Seeing none, Representative Rizzo, you're recognized having waived close. All those in favor of the adoption of the amendment say yay. Yay. Opposed, no. Show the amendment is adopted. Read the next amendment.
None on the desk, Mr. Speaker.
Show the bill rolled over for third reading. Representative Yarkowski, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the rules be waived and that CS for HB 1607 be read a third time by title and placed on final passage.
Representative Yarkowski moves that the rules be waived and that CS for HB 1607 be read a third time by title and placed on final passage. All in favor say yea. Opposed, no. Show the motion adopted. Read the bill a third time by title.
By Education Administration Subcommittee, Representative Yarkowski and Representative Rizzo and others. CS for House Bill 1607, a bill to be entitled an act relating to cardiac emergencies.
Are there any amendments?
None on the desk, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any debate? Representative Blanco in debate from Representative Garrison's desk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, having been one of the few in this room that has worked a cardiac arrest in my career in 21 years as a firefighter, and I see my sister up there from a first responder, police officer, these are devices that save lives. I can tell you that while we're addressing this for kids, it could save any one of our lives in here. An AED is the most powerful tool today to save a life of the ones you love. And I congratulate the sponsors of this bill for putting this thing together. I, like many first responders, were often taken aback by the fact that it takes this long to get good work done. But that hard work does not go unnoticed. I appreciate the passion, and I can tell you, I speak on probably for every firefighter in Florida, every paramedic, that we understand that sometimes when we get there, it's simply too late. And this gives every one of these young men and women who are out there a second chance at life. And for that, I thank you.
Further debate? Representative Yarkowski, or Representative Trabolsi, did you want to debate? You're recognized in debate. From Representative Griffith's desk. Representative Trabolsi from Representative Griffith's desk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And after I'm finished debating, I think Representative Mayfield wanted to debate as well. I just wanted to say thank you to both of you, also Representative Mayfield and the other people, the staff that have come together, that have all brought their stories to us, brought their ideas to us, and for lack of a better term, kind of laid their heart on the line for us. My first year that I was here in the House, I had a gentleman by the name of George Lehman. We've all met him. He's been instrumental in bringing our CPR training up here to the House every year. And he came into my office and told me the story of his daughter, Lauren, who passed away of sudden cardiac arrest in Illinois. And he was able to really be instrumental in getting legislation passed in Illinois and is making his way through Florida now. And he said, if it's my dying wish, you know, to have some legislation like this passed in Florida. And I know that I toyed with it for a few years, and you guys have taken it over the finish line. Last year, George was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He's gone through treatment, so he will live to see his dying wish, and he will see his daughter in heaven one day, and she will be so proud of him, and he will be able to greet her and tell her that he did it all for her. And I know that you're doing it for people that are equally as special to you. So thank you for this. Thank you for your collaboration. Thank you for not dropping the torch. And I can't wait to support this bill.
Representative Mayfield in debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as it was mentioned earlier, the sudden cardiac arrest is a leading cause of death on school campuses. In 2007, I had one of our constituents, Rafi McCrone, who was a sophomore at Cocoa Beach High School, who dropped dead of a cardiac arrest. And he was just having soccer practice. We're fortunate because we have a group called Who We Play For that has brought awareness to this around our state. They have had screening of over 80,000 athletes just this past year. If bystanders knew how to properly do CPR, if they knew how to properly use the equipment, and if the school districts had a plan in place on how to get to that equipment in time, we could save lives. In Rafi's case, they had the equipment, but it was locked up, and no one knew how to get to it. And if they were able to get to that equipment in time, Rafi would be with us today. This bill means a lot to me. It means a lot to his family. This is something that we have been advocating for many, many years. And I certainly appreciate all the sponsors that have been part of this bill. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you so much, because this is going to make Rafi's dad so happy. And he will be here when we do the CPR bill on this floor. And I hope to give him the proper recognition that he needs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Tant in debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentlemen, I want to say thank you for bringing this bill. As I testified in committee on February 25th, a constituent, the son of Tracy and Stephen Fulford, Gannett, was playing basketball in his driveway with his siblings and fell to the ground dead from the heart condition that no one knew he had. If we had had this provision, then he would have been able to be tested and known to have this and have the support he needed if this had happened in his school. So I'm really, really grateful that you've brought this bill, and I'm going to be voting for it for the Fulford families, and ask everyone to join me. Thank you.
Time for debate has expired. Representative Yarkowski, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I turn it over to the charm of Rep. Rizzo for the proper closing, I want to say, and I was waiting to this point to say, Rep. Mayfield, you are a class act. And those that don't know, she had a bill in the same space, came to me and said, let's team up and do this as a team. And I can't thank you enough for coming in and supporting us and standing with us. And thank you to Chairperson Mullica. Awesome, thank you, and my dear friend Rep. Kennedy for her support. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my great and charming prime co-sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representative. Obviously, thanks to Chair Trabulsi, everyone else, Representative Mayfield, thank you for your work and your heart in this. I got to thank a former member, Fred Hawkins, member of our class, who also had a bill dealing with cardiac emergencies and screening in schools, and also Chair Schoaf, who this is important to as well. I'd like to thank a few people: Lauren, Lucas, Antonio, Paris, Sean Cannon, Tad Hattrick, Teddy DeCoste, Sean Anderson, Kyle Howen, Chance Cole, Greg Moyer, Alec Cornett, Zachary Mago, Chance Gaynor, Rafe McCrone. And over 4,500 other school-age children that in the last 3 years that we've been working on this bill have died from sudden cardiac arrest. Some in schools, some at home. With the passing of this bill, we can ensure that at least in schools, all children will have a fighting chance. That 3 minutes, as Representative Blanco talked about, is key. And we will give them that with the passing of this bill. I also want to thank a family, the Keim family. And I talked about this in committee a couple times. And I really wanted to talk about it on the floor, and Representative Yarkowski said we absolutely had to do this. There's a young lady, Hannah Keim, she resides in Cutler Bay in Miami-Dade County. And Hannah Keim and her sister, who is my legislative aide, Bethany Keim, they were tested for a genetic issue that is hereditary in their family, and it turns out that they have a condition that can cause sudden cardiac arrest. Hannah Keim and her sister Bethany both had an automated defibrillator placed inside of them, so that whenever they did experience the issue, it would go ahead and engage and start their heart again. Hannah Keim, 6 months after it was installed, died in her sleep. And luckily, that death was only transient because the AED discharged. She didn't even know what happened. It was later on that she found out, her parents found out, that that had happened in her sleep. 2 years later, Hannah Keim, who was an aspiring actress, was on stage at Cutler Bay High School. And during a scene, it discharged again, twice. Her heart stopped while she was reciting lines. Can you imagine that? And there's video of it. She didn't even know what hit her. But thank God that they knew, that thank God that that family didn't have to go through the tragedy of burying a child. So I thank them for bringing this to my attention. I thank every single person in this chamber who I know will make that screen pure green, and we will hopefully prevent any such death on our school grounds. Thank you.
The question now recurs on final passage of CS for HB 1607. The clerk will unlock the machine. Members will proceed to vote. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? The clerk will lock the machine and announce the vote.
115 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. Speaker.
Show the bill passes.